breaking down Liberty sports. This is the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. This is the High School Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. We're on 100.7 The Score and Fox News Now. We are going to switch back to a spring sport because we are now to the stage where runners and jumpers and, make sure I'm not in throwers, have gone through district, area, regional. The only thing left is state, and there are a few and proud left standing, including a nice handful from Liberty. Coach Dewbre. It's Madison, and I keep getting your name mixed up. Were you at Monterey when she was playing volleyball?
Yes.
You can blame her for me saying her name wrong. That, and I'm an old man, and I forget things. This is the biggest group you've taken in these 3 years, correct?
Yes.
And I'm going to have you run through the group real quick. This is a lot of big schools. You'll have guys that specialize and they're focusing on this, and that's why you've got two examples here of one reason you guys are so good at what you do is because these guys do not. You have to share them with other coaches, which actually helps you.
Yes. So we have Gavin in baseball, and we had Aeson in soccer up until the district track meet.
And
the
football
week of
in the
district.
fall.
And football.
And formerly football.
Right.
Yes, formerly.
So, but definitely, the multi-sport is what we have to do right now, especially small school, and it's helped us out, and the coaches have worked together for that to happen.
But you sort of have to get along with that football coach, don't you?
Oh, yeah, that's not hard.
No, that's true. That's not hard. Joe Sexton's one of the nicest. In fact, you guys have probably heard me say this. When Joe comes on here, you guys don't have to keep me as focused, because when Joe's here and we just start talking, the poor kids that are here, we just kind of fade into the scenery. We're both old dudes who have a lot of shared experiences. So let's run through your list real quick here. So I'll read it. If I'm missing anybody, let me know. In the running events, Caden Joseph, sophomore, qualified in the 100, which I've looked at the times in the 100 in 5A and 4A. Good grief. There were some guys picking them up and putting them down, and that's Gavin, were you in the 100? Grab the mic when you're up there.
Not this year.
Okay.
I was up into area, and then some things happened. Finished not at the right line, and kind of had a rough start. But right after that, I was a little bummed out. And I mean, you're gonna go down this list, and the races I'm in, going to state. Coach Bree is like, you can be at the anchor, and you can still find your way to Austin. So
I was going to say, you didn't seem like you were too bummed out there.
No, sir. Not at all.
The reason I say that is, even though you weren't in it, you got to be a fan of
Oh yes, sir.
those guys.
You have to always support. Yes,
Like,
sir.
Was it James Bozeman, who I think finished third, and it was like a sliver of a time from not going to Austin. So it's just had to have been fun to watch. He didn't go in the 200 he didn't go either, because Iverson McGuire from Estacado. There's another, I believe he's a sophomore or junior too. There's another young guy. But for you guys, besides Caden, you've got your 4x100 and 4x200 team going, relay team, which is Beckton Hogg, Caden Joseph again, Harrison Vitz, and Gavin. 200 is Coben Walker, Caden Joseph, Harrison Vitz, and Gavin. So Gavin recovered all right.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, sir.
And then in triple jump, Aeson Huffman, the young man right there next to Coach. You're going in the triple jump, and you came just a little bit, almost got there in long jump as well.
Yes, sir.
So that's a nice contingent to go in year 3 of a school. And like you said, small school where you're competing with who you do in your region.
Yeah, so the kids worked hard. We knew it's there. We've had it there this whole time. We just haven't been able to put them all together with all the sports. Matter of fact, that was the first time that 4x2s ran together.
Really?
Because we had to pull them at district. Caden at area. Day before area, Caden got pulled because an opening opened up in the 100. So he was 5th place from district, moved in the area, and ended up placing first. So I had to change the 4x2 up then. And then
It's a good problem to have.
yeah. And then so that was the first time that 4x2s actually ever ran together back to back. And then with him, he was 5th place in triple and 5th place in long. And then we got a call the day before from Memorial to get him into triple. And we got a call the day of from Brock to get him into long. And then he goes and medals in both.
Which is always, to me, that's got to be nerve-wracking to say, I don't know if I'm going, because I know there's still some people waiting to see if they get to go to Austin, right?
Yes.
Who was it? Somebody sent me a message. Somebody, they're still waiting to say, and they may know by now, but Aeson, what was that like to have Coach? They called Coach first, and then Coach gets to call you. That's probably a pretty fun call for a coach to make. But when he called and said, okay, you get to do this, how much did that fire you up?
Yeah, I mean, it fired me up a lot, and, it came from just me thinking of a what's next mindset, just throughout that week. Because even after not making that area, I was still at practice, those 2 weeks coming into regionals, still trying to perfect my craft, get better and all that. So when I got that call, I was very excited, because, and I was telling everyone it was God's plan, so. It really fired me up just knowing that I kept putting that work in and that it paid off.
And then you go and you got second place, but you competed pretty close to the guy who won it.
Yep, yes, sir.
And was that a season best in the triple jump?
No, sir, it wasn't.
See, now you get to go to Austin and see if you can't get that season best.
Yep.
You could have switched gears and started thinking about soccer or football.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin didn't have that option because he's also the starting second baseman on a really good baseball team that took care of business in the by-district round. I should have this up. They play in the area round this week. Have you ever been to the complex in Clyde?
No, sir, I have not.
It's a nice complex.
That's nice.
It's nice for old sports writers because you can sit there and watch about 4 games at once.
Oh, really?
I'd be paying attention to you guys, I promise. You play at 4:30 Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Don't come back until Saturday at 4. Correct?
Yes, sir. Yep. We play at 4, and then if necessary, game right after that.
Yeah, that
Hopefully, we don't need that. Hopefully, we.
Just take care of business.
Yes, sir.
So that's this week. And then you have to start figuring out how are we going to. That's you and Lamar Keller are going to have to figure out.
Well, yeah, we already talked about that this morning. I was waiting for him when I got there, and I was waiting for him. Our rooms are actually across from each other, and he finally came in, and I said, well, good thing we compete on Thursday. And so they've got their games on Friday, Saturday, or as they continue on.
We'll talk about what else gets involved there, too, for the first time at Liberty when we come back after this break in the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Breaking down Liberty sports. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. This is the second segment of the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. Before I forget, we were talking about baseball a lot here. I want to run through, I may come back for the third break. We'll run through who's left and who got beat this last weekend. Liberty did not get beat. They're still playing, and we'll mention that when we come back. Before we went to break, you guys don't have to, track doesn't have to necessarily worry about graduation. Hay will be in the barn. You get to take care of business on the 14th, and just for when you get to state, it's just 1 day.
1 day for us.
And 5A and 6A follow up the next two?
Yes. So 3 and 4A will be that Thursday, and then 2 and 5 will be Friday, and then 1 and 6 will be Saturday.
So Gavin and Harrison Vitz, who's the other baseball guy, can go win the state championship in those two events and then be refreshed. And some of your classmates joke about you going from one to the other, like, we don't know Gavin's going to be there until Gavin gets there. So you don't have to worry about that. You'll have some time.
We'll be there. There's been some track meets this year where I've had to go run at like 4 and then be in the dugout by at least 6 to play the game at 7. So,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Aeson, did you have to do that in the soccer season at all? Or did you just wait until soccer was over?
It wasn't as much of a problem with soccer and track, but last year it was more of a problem with soccer and basketball since I was playing in the same season. So there would be times where I would leave basketball games at halftime to go play soccer games or vice versa. And then I would just play a full basketball game and a full soccer game the same day. It just depended on
It's nice to be young.
Yeah.
You didn't have to. Now, Coach Parker may try to lure you back in because they lost some guys in basketball. He may need some athletes.
Oh, I mean, no, I'm sure he's good. I'm sure he'll be all right.
I bet they're going to be okay. I don't know that you guys lack for athletes in any sport out there.
Sir.
It seems like every sport's got a group of them. We're talking about track, but I covered your 2 games, Gavin. Those were a little tighter than maybe I expected. Maybe, I don't know how you guys felt about them, but that's not the worst thing in the world. That can kind of get you ready, kind of get you locked in a little bit for moving forward.
Yes, sir. No, for sure. I mean, we went in there and we know we've lost a couple arms this year, and it's kind of been hard on us because, I mean, he helps us a lot with what he can do on the mound, Castler. But I mean, if we can get the bats hot at the right time, and even though they weren't too hot against Glen Rose, they still found a way, and we actually went down 5-0 in Game 2. And I guess that shows a lot about this team and like what we can do and the chemistry that we've built up the past 3 years to be able to come from a 5-0 deficit in a playoff game where Glen Rose has to win or they're going to be out, and we come back and win that game 7-5. So no matter how close it is, at least we got the job done.
We'll talk about it later.
Yes, sir.
We'll see what happens. Maybe you guys will be on here baseball-wise next week.
Yes, sir.
Patriots scored in 2 innings in 2 games and won 2 games. So it doesn't matter how you do it as long as you get it done.
For sure.
I don't want to not mention your girls, Hunter. You didn't qualify anybody, but 3 relay teams set new school records.
On the boys' side, 3 relays, but both of the girls we scratched the 4x4 to keep Nat in the 100, and then both the girls 4x1 and 4x2 they broke both school records. The 4x1 by 7/10 of a second, and the 4x2 by a second and a half, and it just came down to the hundredths and the finish line, and that killed them.
And you got to say goodbye to a wave of athletes.
I do
over there.
And yeah, that was hard. That was hard to see too, because I wanted nothing more for them to go out and get a district championship this year, and go out and get them to state. And we just barely missed both.
And that's, I was talking to my wife about, neither one of us is a track aficionado, so I'll say that, but I see stuff roll in, I'd say, oh, the Liberty girls set a personal record, or they set a school record, so they're going to state now. But that's, I've said this before, I don't know if people understand how prestigious it is to be able to get on the bus and go down to Austin at this time of year, because it's just 2 from each event when you get to regionals.
Yeah. Top 2, and then a wild card, 3rd place from all 4 regions. They take the best time or best mark. And yeah, so, we're sitting on the opposite end, and we thought they had it. We thought the girls had it in that 4x1, celebrating and a little early, and then we see the board and 2 100s. And man, that one hurt. That one hurt. But the boys kept it close from 1st to 2nd, thank God, not 2nd to 3rd. So
that's, it just got to be those first 2, which makes what you did, Aeson, even more impressive. 5th place in area.
Yes, sir.
So there's 4 guys you had to figure. Yeah, 4 guys you had to figure out from your area, and then anything magic that you did. We're coming up on a break, so I'll give you that to think about. Just what you did in that week when you didn't know for sure until you knew. So we'll come back and get Aeson to talk about that when we come back after this break in the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Breaking down Liberty sports. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score and the High School Fan Zone. Real quick, we run through the by-district round of the baseball playoffs. What happened in Class 6A? Friendship beat El Paso Coronado 13-2 and 4-2. They advanced to take on Byron Nelson's, a familiar opponent for them. They will play 5 p.m. Thursday in Graham, and then I believe it's 11 a.m. on Friday. Best of 3 series, game 3 after that. In 5A Division 1, Monterey lost in 2 games to Abilene High. Plainsman didn't score a run. Abilene High's pitching came through, I believe. No, that's Coronado. Coronado got no hit by one of the Abilene Wiley pitchers. They lost in 2 games. Their season's done. Great season for both those teams. They big for Monterey to get back to the playoffs. Coronado's been there 2 years in a row. In 4A, we talked to Mark Giannis earlier today. Great series against Stephenville. Went 3 games. Last game went 9 innings. Stephenville survived that one. Liberty won in 2 games. Liberty took care of business in about 4.5 hours on a Wednesday. A little closer than maybe people expected, but like I said, I think that will help them. There's a team out there called Brock that may be waiting for them down the road that took care of Levelland 13-0, 12-1. But you remember Brock.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'd like to see that. I would like for you guys to get that.
You won't forget
chance.
that.
No, I can't imagine you would. Don't want to forget Lubbock Cooper. They beat Wichita Falls Memorial 3-0 last Wednesday. Came back Saturday, and Ryan Rodriguez did Ryan Rodriguez things. They won 8-0. They advanced for a rematch against El Paso Horizon. They will play that in Wink, Texas, which has all of a sudden become a popular place for playoffs. They play at, I think it's 6 p.m. Thursday, come back at 11 a.m. So still 3 teams left. Trinity Christian actually just finished up a area round sweep in TAPS 5A. They beat Austin Hyde Park 6-2 and 11-4. They will play in the regional championship round next week against either Midland Christian or Grace Prep. And we'll switch back gears to track and field because there's still some business to take care of. Aeson, that question I asked you, did you do anything special before you knew you were going to get that chance? Did you do anything that you'd done differently, or was it just being mad and motivated and thinking, man, I hope I get this chance?
I mean, to me, I did nothing different, with me, one thing that I'm really big about is consistency, so I'm gonna consistently try and get my rhythm right, stay powerful on my bounds and just keep putting in that work throughout the weeks. And so even when I didn't, even when things didn't go my way at area and I knew I still had a chance, I still put that work in over those 2 weeks. And like I said, I just had to trust what God had in plan for me. And so I just went out there and, did my best because that's all I could have did. And so it ended out good.
Hunter, I don't think of track coaches as necessarily giving the Newt Rockney lift up your spirit speeches because you're working with, but did you have to be a little bit psychologist with him before you knew that he was going to get that chance?
Well, and that's hard because, I know the kids, they put in a lot of time and effort, and, he tried, and he knows that he didn't jump his best. And that happened again this weekend too. And I understand what they're going through. But at the same time, I'm like, we're going to have to keep working it. We're going to have to keep at it because there is a chance. I don't want to say it's going to happen, but there is a chance that you'll get the call up. And sure enough, like I said, in both events.
Just got to keep waiting. Now with your guys that are baseball guys, you want Lamar to like you. You want Lamar to send you a Christmas card. So you guys have to think along with each other of don't beat him up on the track, or you don't want him to get drilled in the head with a pitch.
No. It's no, and I mean, Kello and I have been on the same page. He is all about them running. He's had the small school mentality with that. So and they're faster. They get out there and obviously they get on the track, and those kids can fly. So.
Now, I should ask you, and I want to say this before I forget, congratulations to the Liberty Boys golf team for winning the 4A state championship. They won the 3A state championship a few years ago, so 2 and 3 years. Don't have any crossover with golfers, do you? No, that would never work. No. And golfers are a little bit different breed anyway. Golfers and swimmers have real little pockets of the world where they do their thing. But, man, your guys have got it going in golf. Cord Wilburn, his first state championship. Joe Sexton was the coach the first time, but that's a pretty cool accomplishment to have those guys put up another big trophy in that trophy case. You guys have a chance. You put up a district championship in track and field.
Yes, and an area championship.
There you go. So you've got a couple of them. Baseball guys have a chance to keep adding some more. So it's a pretty good time to be an athlete at Liberty, boys or girls. We'll talk more when we come back next week in the high school fan zone with them. We'll be back Wednesday with the other 4 schools. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score.